Hey everybody, welcome back to another podcast spoiler possibly filled review / impression. I'm like still
we talk about
we're
movies
workshopping
and
it.
shows.
We're workshopping it. We're going to talk about movies and shows. Today though, we're going to talk about Alita, Battle Angel, which based on a manga, I think we all enjoyed it fairly, it's safe to say.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it for the most part. I have problems with the story.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I found myself really enjoying it. Like, I walked out, I was like, I really like that. I was like, well, yeah, I just like, I really had fun watching it, and the effects were obviously really, really good. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, that's how I like the main characters. I was invested in Alita. But yeah,
it was good.
Overall.
I enjoyed it, man. That movie definitely surprised me because I thought, I mean, don't get me wrong, the visuals looked great, but I was like I'm afraid this is going to be like a thing where they just maybe can't do character development with a CG character like that, because you see the trailer for the very first time, and usually CG it's that uncanny valley of them trying to make a CG thing look real, and in this case, I mean, that layered with on top of like, no, we're also gonna give her fucking anime eyes, like, yeah. You know what I mean?
Like, I'm committed to that.
Yes, like totally differently, like disproportionate character. But I liked it. I liked the way that came out and everything. So I think, I mean, overall, like, I came into it thinking like, okay, it's probably gonna be pretty good, but I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I was going to. What about you, Heidi?
No, for sure. I hate sci-fi. So, like, I saw the commercial and, like, didn't want to watch it.
Sci-fi.
No, I had no interest. Yeah, no, I really don't care for it. Like, I just think it's boring. But the movie was really fun. Like, I really liked it. I like violence and destruction and physical pain. So, like, all of that made up for the futuristic stuff.
Yeah, then you layer on top cyberpunk, man.
Yeah,
I love cyberpunk.
Yeah, I love the cyberpunk,
I love it so much.
Like, feel, the look of it. Like, yeah. I guess looking at the movie the whole time, I was like, I like everything I'm seeing right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's also what brought my enjoyment to it.
See, because Heidi thinks that sci-fi is dumb, right? Okay. But she'll watch The Hunger Games, and she loves it, right?
Oh, I like violence.
Or she'll watch Armageddon, and she loves it, right? There's people
like
landing on a
and Aerosmith.
I mean, you like Aerosmith, right? But I've constantly told her, I was like, Heidi, like, sci-fi is so good.
I need sci-fi with something else. Even if it's like sci-fi horror, I love horror. If it's
like,
sci-fi romance.
Let me ask you, have you seen the original Alien movies by chance or anything like that?
I don't think so.
Well, you should, because that's sci-fi and horror. Well, the first Alien movie.
No, that's what I'm saying. I can digest sci-fi.
Yeah.
I either have to be under the influence or like it has to be with something else attached to it. I getcha.
Right. Well, I don't have to be under the influence for this movie because it was fucking great.
No, this movie was good. That's what I'm saying. This movie was really good. I liked it. Good. Yeah.
I guess from this point on, we'll be definitely get into spoiler territory. So if you have not seen it and you were interested in checking it out, go and stop here. But for those of you, I know, right?
It's good.
But for those of you that have seen it and wanted to, hear our thoughts on it, we're going to go ahead and talk about maybe some spoiler stuff already. We'll literally, the whole thing will be spoilers from here on out. Mm-hmm. I guess just right off the bat, this isn't technically a spoiler, but I did want to say one of the things I enjoyed about the movie especially was the again, we were talking about the CG character, right? This being a thing. I think like the action scenes especially were very, very important because they did a real good job of establishing like physics and gravity, right? Like there was, let's say for example, the one scene where she's kicking off, like she's doing that overhead kick to take off that dude's arm. I forgot his name already. But like if you're watching it as it's happening in slow motion, like there's resistance to her foot, like it actually almost kind of like stops and like still continues going down. But there's like a sense of like realism to a lot of like the CG stuff that they did, which I thought was just amazing. Like as far as like how fantastic their CG work was, like even just bringing that character to life, I think was like fantastic.
They did a good job of establishing setting,
yeah,
which was important,
yeah,
because this is a futuristic world.
mm-hmm.
So like the production, even with all the extras and the costume design and like all of that, it all worked.
Yeah,
like
it
really
all came
well
together
with
really,
the
really well.
CG as well,
Yeah.
which is already like a difficult beast to master.
Yeah,
like you were saying.
I mean, with James Cameron being an executive producer, right,
Mm-hmm.
and Robert Rodriguez directing. If I mean, for those of you who aren't aware, like what happened was, I mean, James Cameron had been wanting to do this for a while apparently, but he's been just knee deep in like Avatar, like in the sequels that he's attempting to do or whatever.
Wow.
But they used a lot of the stuff they learned from Avatar for this
I bet.
actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for like all the facial tracking stuff or whatever. So I think it was a real good like proof of concept of what at least you'll be able to expect in like say like an Avatar 2 later on or something like that. But just overall, like what they were doing with the CG stuff, I think is fantastic.
And they were making Alita really likable, which
Yeah.
is important because she's the most outrageous looking one in this like humanoid cyborg world with her
true.
eyes. Yeah. But they made her likable for sure.
How do you feel about the anime eyes, Caleb?
I didn't mind them at all. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I guess because I watch anime, like I liked the choice. They were just like, we're just gonna go with it.
We're gonna go for
And
it.
We're just gonna go for it. So I thought that was cool. I thought she looked great the whole time. I liked it was very seamless when they had the other robot people, like the other hunter killers, where it was just their face
Yeah.
and everything else is robot.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks so seamless. Like it doesn't look like they just put someone's face on a robot. Like it does, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought it looked really, really good. Going off what you're saying, I think the standout for me was all the action scenes.
Yeah.
Whether it was in the bar, that was a really cool scene, and then right after when she's fighting the big dude, the first action scene, I guess more or less when in the alleyway when Ito was about to take out that chick or whatever. That was a good scene too, and of course the roller ball scene was awesome.
I didn't know it was gonna be about motorball.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
I thought they were just gonna allude to it, but then like a large part of it.
That is how she's going.
I
to
feel like
get
that
up
was
there.
that was like the pod racing, right? To like of like what the rest of the things are gonna be about. Like I think they'll show you motorball in the first one, but I bet maybe the subsequent ones may not be.
Well, so that was my one big problem with the movie. Even though I still enjoy it, my one big problem with the movie is that I felt like they tried to put a little too much into one movie in the sense of like, so one part of it's about her trying to figure out her past. The other part is her becoming a hunter killer. There's another part of her and her boyfriend loving each other and wanting to go to Zalem.
Yeah.
And then there's another of her being the motorball person. Like it's like 4 different kind of main points. And I think it would have been better if they stuck with like 2.
Yes.
I think it would have been more solid. But they had so that's my complaint is they had a lot of different story points.
Yeah.
And it was getting a little too, because once we got to, because I noticed once we got to that scene where like she was in the locker room, I was like, how's this movie gonna end? Like, what's the end goal? Like, because I kind of was confused on the main plot of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, because we have so many different main points. So I guess for me the script is there's a little too much. It's try to cram a little too much into one movie.
Yeah.
But again, overall, I still just found myself enjoying the movie. Like, I was just like, I enjoy this movie.
I think with it being like a James Cameron movie, I mean, probably got edited like crazy because his stuff tends to be, like super long and epic. Might as well be a Scorsese film or something. But I could see a lot of edits being made to at least try to shorten that stuff a little bit. So I know, like in the comics, or I'm sorry, the mangas, you said you read where it seems like it's going also pretty fast. I feel like maybe they just had so much to cover that they were, at least they themselves, also trying to edit whatever they were getting out of the manga and stuff like that.
And it definitely deviates from the manga in the sense of like they make in the movie, what I like the movie does, it makes it more personal. Like you're invested in Ito and Alita's story more than they have more of a relationship in the movie. In the manga, it's like really quick, and she says things you're like, oh, you didn't really establish that, but okay.
Yeah.
The manga is really cool. It's a very fun visual action set piece. The movie is more personal, and I like that. But I do think the movie could have still deviated more in the sense of like, hey, we're just gonna do like 2 things, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, so trying to do all 3 or whatever.
Yeah, do all 4 even because it's hunter killer, boyfriend, past. But yeah.
And I think a lot of, because I haven't read the manga, but like from what I saw from the scenes and the sequences, I mean, a lot of them look like they could have come straight from there. You know, even like Ito bringing up the his weapon and stuff like that. Or whatever.
Exactly. And that's what I liked about the movie, because I know the manga, like, he uses it like regular, but in the movie, since the actor's a little older, he uses the little booster thing, which he has in the manga, but he only uses that when he needs to. Yeah. So I like the little boost. Little booster on it,
and I thought they made it like cool. I mean, it was cool, it was believable. Or whatever. I was like, dude, I was like, how's this old man gonna kill people?
Exactly.
Whatever,
right? I liked that.
Put a fucking booster on his scythe or whatever.
That was super cool.
I really enjoyed that. The villains, though, at least 3 of the cybernetic ones, which was so there was the girl, right? I'm sorry, I forget their names, but there's a girl, right, that she's all
the pointy
spidery,
one?
The pointy one.
She dies pretty quick.
Yeah, she dies pretty quick. I was gonna ask, do they come out like that in the manga, where it's just a like fleshed out face, but then the rest of them is like metal body?
Sort of, but not really.
Which I thought was kind of a weird choice.
It's more of a it's more facey in the movie, like it's just the face. I think in the manga it's more fleshed out. It's more like combined robots with heads. So they definitely like differentiated in the movie. Also in the manga, that Spider Girl is actually, I said call her Spider Girl, but
I'm gonna call her Spider Girl.
She's actually a mutant in the manga, so that's that character is new.
Change that a little bit,
which I'm cool with. I'm going to establish a bunch of
for sure.
So, so they definitely did it different, but it's
for me, I thought visually it was kind of weird because she's, when they show her, she's walking in a trench coat. She looks like a regular person. She's got like fucking fishnets right on her legs, so she looks human, right? Because you can see her face and her legs and her hands are in her pockets, I believe. And only to reveal, like, hey, I'm mostly fucking spider robot or whatever.
I like how the political term was hard bodies.
Yeah.
I don't get these hard bodies. What?
Because they're metal.
Yeah. Because they're flesh.
I guess it's like, I mean, you got to think of like what derogatory terms are going to be, for
this
fictional world like that or whatever. But I mean, I like it. I like when there's like cyberpunk lingo for stuff like that. Like I love it whenever they have names for stuff, and like obviously you don't know what it is, but when they say it, you're like, oh yeah, like I get it. I get why they would call it that or whatever. But I always enjoy like naming conventions like that whenever that's brought up in film and stuff. But I mean, back to Alita real quick. Just I think her story arc over the entire thing of her trying to figure out who she was, right, and having that part where she's like remembering stuff from her past and everything. I mean, I think that stuff was done well as far as, I mean, leaving a lot obviously to probably be explained in later movies and stuff like that, which I mean, like, okay, well, they're probably going to explain a lot more of this later on or whatever. So it did leave me wanting a little bit to where I was like, well, I mean, you could have shown a little more, but I did read something where it was saying that actually the movie goes way more in depth than like the manga does as far as like backstory stuff or explaining where she came from and stuff like that. I mean, obviously you find out she's actually what was that? It was a berserker
from Mars.
I mean, I thought it was cool that she was actually from a race that was going to kill us or whatever. Or I say us as humans or whatever, but she was actually the enemy at one point, which I thought was a real cool spin on whatever else they could have done with the plot or whatever. But I mean, I enjoyed her arc. I mean, I know you were talking about the rollerball stuff, kind of, and I think they maybe didn't need to add that either. But I figured, I was like, well, maybe this was in the manga, which I know.
Haven't gotten that.
I know you haven't gotten that far. So that was what I was thinking. I was like, well, maybe it came out in the manga where that was like a thing. I don't know, but it felt like like maybe it was like an afterthought or like they added on maybe to pad out more time. I mean, I don't know.
We need more action scenes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only way to get to the other floating city. Yeah.
So then that's a thing, and I get that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the motivation is to make money to go up there.
Well,
the winner, you have to be the champion.
Yeah,
that's because no one can go up there.
Yeah.
This movie reminds me of a book series I read in middle school. Mm-hmm. It's called Uglies. And so everyone starts off on Earth as an ugly person, and then when you turn 16, you get this surgery, and you get moved to like a sky city also, where everyone is pretty. But the thing is, during that surgery, they actually like implement a chip, and it's all about brainwashing. But no one cares because everyone's living a luxurious life in the Sky City.
Yeah.
The way it's similar to Alita in that everyone on the Sky City is like rich or like privileged and born into it, and the people on the bottom are like scum.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way was sending up their body parts, which he was scamming, or being the grand champion.
Yeah.
So the only way for the uglies to get to the other was to get the surgery. So and the main character, she's like trying to destroy the city also because it's all bad or whatever. Mm-hmm. But she had to do the surgery. Like, you have to play the game. You have to, in order to get to where you need to, and then you blow shit up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I liked about a lot of it was like, you think when you see these characters, you always think like, oh yeah, they're above the law, they can do this. But like, I mean, you see her there at the end having to like repress her need or want to like fucking kill that one guy. What's that bad robot guy's name? The one with the sword.
Starts with an N. Oh.
Yeah,
I forgot his name. Well, like as far as like having to be like, there's authority, there's law, there's rules, and she was, you know, she found a way to outsmart him within those rules or whatever. Because you think like, oh well, she's just a badass, she can just fucking kill anything and everything will be fine. But she's there like actually. I mean, like, there's real danger, right, to, like, consequences and stuff like that. So.
There's no police. They just have those hunter-killers.
Yeah, I know, those fucking hunter-killers or
which
whatever.
can even be malicious
or, I mean, even those, like, large-ass, like, robots or whatever. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Those are, like, surrounding her and stuff like that.
I consider them, like, more the police.
Right? Yes. That's what I'd probably say. They are probably, like, if there's any kind of police, it's, like, it's going to be them or whatever. But, I mean, something we haven't really talked about was the love interest, right, with that kid. I knew right away when I saw him, I was like, this is going to be a fucking thing or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, sometimes I feel like you don't, like, not everything has to be about love, right? Yeah, like, I mean, you can totally have a full, a kick-ass movie, still have all of this, and it didn't have to be about a girl loving a boy or vice versa. And when you talk about, like, hey, there was, like, 4 things they were trying to do, I definitely would have taken that one out. Just been like, nope, let's put that one out for a little bit. I know, like, I mean, love is a great motivator or whatever, but so is survival.
Yeah, but, like, that shouldn't be the main motivator. Like, she was already looking for who she was or whatever, and who she was a badass berserker. Like, she didn't need that.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought when he died, I was like, okay, good. I don't have to see him anymore or whatever. And it's like, but they bring him back? I'm like, oh, okay.
He died. Which I thought was kind of cool. I was like, oh, right on. Like, they took, like, I like they took some risks or, like, risks in this movie. Like, he actually dies. Yeah. And then with the well, not, I don't want to get off topic, but the one line I hated, and I hated it in any movie I see, when she's like, well, it's okay if I'm not human. He's like, you're the most human thing I've ever seen. Like, I hate that line. You're more human than anybody. Yeah. Or like that line's been used so much for so many different ways. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's a compliment I'm going to pay you now whenever you're passing you by.
And then Edward Norton.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Edward Norton.
What the
villain.
Frank?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I forgot.
I like that because I hate when they... Like this, like in the first Ant-Man, they're like, oh, and your mother, and they have a picture of the mother, and her face isn't in it. I'm like, oh yeah, because they don't have the actress yet. Yeah. But in this one, they're like, oh, we have the actor, he'll be used later. I'm like, oh, that's cool that they actually have him set, and he'll probably be used later. Yeah. Random cameo, Jai Courtney was like randomly in there.
Which one?
When they were going, when her and her boyfriend were going through the motorball, like. They were like behind looking at the fighters or whatever, and then Jai Courtney just there, just hanging out.
Who's Jai Courtney though? I don't know.
He's the one, Captain Boomerang in Suicide Squad.
Captain Boomerang. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he was randomly just there. And
I was all random. But now we'll cut it off there. If you guys like what you're seeing, come on back and let us know how you like our stuff, man.
Go see Alita because that was good.
Go see Alita. It's very, very good. Even if you don't like sci-fi, go check it out.
Yeah, because it's good. I promise.
Anyways, guys, thanks to Heidi, Caleb. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much. We're going to do this every time?
Every time.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll see y'all later. Thanks for coming by.
Bye.